Welcome to Half Read, where the books are optional, but the cocktails are required. Today's episode, Rosé-o and Juliet, based on Romeo and Juliet by the bard, William Shakespeare, promises to be a lively one with debate on passion, conflict, and generational divides. Ladies, what happens when love or work or just our own choices clash with our family values or cultures or traditions? So let's start with the most obvious. Family expectations and cultural pressures. The invisible scripts we still follow as adults, and things that were ingrained in us as kids that don't necessarily work with our lives or our beliefs in present day society, but that we still follow, dare I say, somewhat blindly, right? So let's start there. Lisa, Leah, what do you guys think?
I agree.
Yeah.
Check, done. Bye, guys.
That was great talking to you. No.
And that was the episode.
We got a little more to say.
Sorry. Expectations, culture pressures. I think it's a lot. I feel like it's a heavy discussion. I feel like we always say that. It's such a heavy discussion. Everything is. But expectations, I don't know about you guys, but I don't know. Growing up, yeah, I felt like it. I mean, even now, I just feel like all the time there's just always like expectations, up the wazoo.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, absolutely.
Like how you're supposed to act as like a mom.
Yes.
And picking your kid up and dropping your kid off every day. And what you're supposed to wear or not wear, or how you're supposed to scold or not scold.
Oh, yes.
The snacks you bring, like all those things.
Yes, right?
Yep.
I mean, it's just, everything from every moment from when you wake up to go to bed.
Yes.
I think it's everything.
It doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop, and it doesn't stop from, all directions,
Yeah.
whether it's from, the family, the generation above or below us, our kids' expectations versus our parent expectations, our colleagues, employers, our friends and foe, all of it. It's heavy.
You don't have any foe, Leia. What do you
Little do they know. No. I think that it does, as you said, Lisa, it's a heavy topic because we all feel it to some extent, to some degree. Some may choose to ignore those expectations and kind of move on their own path, but without question, it affects you in some way, whether you're choosing to ignore it or follow with it or feel the pressures of it. And, I will say certainly I've always felt it quite heavily, just to kind of reiterate my background and upbringing. So I'm a first generation. I was born in Canada, raised there, but my entire family is Trinidadian, right? My family is from the West Indies. And so that experience growing up in a household with West Indian parents my mother arrived in Montreal for university. And my father was, similarly, they were raised in Trinidad. So that is where their, that is the culture that they brought to our house. And very different from the North American culture. Very different. And in positive and negative ways, right? Let's say it this way, right? To start with, there's a reason they came to North America. So when I say very different, I don't mean that in the way of everything that they felt was right for us as kids was right, but they led with what they knew. Yeah. But everything from education to discipline to friendships, and it hasn't stopped. Even myself now as a mother, and them as the grandparents, them as my parents from a distance, me being here in the States, them still in Canada, there are different expectations that come along or come from them, and from my family as a whole. Because when I say I'm first generation, that means that everyone older than me, they are from the Caribbean, right? So my cousins and myself, and even some of my cousins were heavily raised in Trinidad or in the West Indies. So it's really my line of our generation that was here in North America, whether Canada or the United States. And in some ways, I think I've felt privilege and pressure of being that generation. And interestingly enough, the generation in the middle, right? So I have such an experience of that West Indian culture while trying to transition to the North American culture. And now my kids are American, right? That is their experience, that is their vision, that is what they understand and know and what it should be. And so very often that will clash. It does clash. And oftentimes it's me, myself in that experience of the clash, right? Because my kids are thinking some way, whereas I'm still trying to bring in what I was taught. Yeah. Discipline is probably the number one, right? Yeah. The number one experience or the number one factor of where that clash may come from. And just having my kids try and deal with, etiquette and expectation of how they should behave and what consequences will be, it's been, it's an experience for us all. So
you were right, Lisa, because that's a very heavy topic. And I think what we all need to do, including the folks joining us on the line at this moment, whether it's the cocktail or the mocktail, is probably grab a sip of their Rosé-o and Juliet. It is a sparkling rosé with strawberries. And you guys, you're going to hear our glasses.
Clink, clink, clink. There's a road to go down.
Because there's a road to go down, my friends. Yes. And whether you have the alcoholic or the non-alcoholic version, jump in and join us. Because, you guys, there's so much to unpack here. Leah, you are so right. Lisa, you were about to say something.
I was, and then it fleeted.
That's on me.
I took my drink.
That's on me. That's my fault. Because I was like, oh, this looks really delicious.
No, I think I was gonna.
Strawberries. I want some.
I think I was gonna ask you a question, Leah, about when you were talking about like discipline. Are you talking about the? I guess picking somebody like your mother, kind of the way that you are parenting and the way that you are disciplining, and then the way that she feels things should be done, right?
100%.
Because I always feel like you and I always have somewhat of similar stories too. Because I always felt that too. Like the way that I do things, it seems to be so different than what maybe my parents did, or the stories that they would tell.
Right.
Like, well, that's not how we did it, when we were growing up, or
Yeah. I think that my upbringing definitely clashes with what we often hear now about gentle parenting.
Yeah.
I think is my parents would be like, what is that? That just doesn't sound like parenting. No. is what they would really feel probably about it. And rather than calling it gentle parenting, I think a positive, well, not that gentle parenting isn't a positive term, but I think where it clashes is that, and not to negatively speak on my parents' style, but children were seen and not heard.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And
it's very
so
typical.
It's
not
typical.
A negative comment.
No,
it's very
generational.
Generationally.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Authority was where it stood. You respected that. It was revered, feared, all those things. And that is just not what it is now, right? And so in some instances, I think it's that we give more explanation to our kids. Yes. There's more dialogue. There's more, whether that's right or wrong at times. That's where like I said, I feel the clash, where sometimes I pause and I'm like, this is not how my parents would have done it.
Oh, no.
And I feel like, could my outcome have been different if I adopted more of their ways, especially in discipline?
But isn't that a part, though, of generation to generation, right? Is learning from what was done before and kind of, doing something a little bit better, or doing something a little bit differently than the way it was done, because maybe there would have been a different or maybe a better or maybe a worse outcome. You don't know. But there's that trial and error, I feel like, right? And so, yes, this is the way that our parents did it, and it was a little bit more harsh and, more disciplinary and everything like that. And we kind of do it a little bit more gently. you know, because I think we're looking to get a little bit of a different outcome because we know what it was like.
Right.
We, you know,
sure.
we wish like things were a little bit softer, a little bit more gentle, or explained to us, or been part of the conversation.
Absolutely.
I feel like we try to pull our kids in to have to be a part of the decision-making process of a lot of things. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but I do think that our parents feel that there's something wrong with that.
Lisa, you're so right. No,
I agree wholeheartedly. Do you ever feel like you overcompensate for certain things? And I'll give you an example, right? So, you know, when I was growing up, I have shared I played basketball, and I played basketball in high school and in college. And the feedback that I always received from my family was not exactly positive all the time, right? Even though I played at a high level, I did pretty well. It was always like, oh, you could have done this better. You could have done that differently. You didn't use your hook shot. You could have whatever. And I know ultimately, like, my family is very proud of me. However, I took all of that to heart in a way that was negative, and it wasn't, I don't think, the way it was intended at all. It was intended to support and make me better, but it was in its own generational context. And for me, I took it in a way that was like, you think I suck. Like, this isn't good enough for you. Okay. So I have sort of rebounded, pun intended, in a different direction.
Perfectly placed, Meg.
Thank
Perfectly
you.
placed.
I mean, I have some value. So I've gone the other direction though, where like my kids, if they could have the worst game of their life,
like, you did amazing,
and I'm like, well, I won't go that far, but they'll get in the car and they'll be like, oh, I sucked, I did, blah blah blah. And I'm like, listen, did you play as hard as you could? Yeah. I'm like, then you know what are you gonna work on for next time?
Right.
And I leave it to them. I never bring up the conversation of, you know, kid, you didn't do this, or, you know, you didn't do that, or you could have had the shot from the point, but you didn't take it, and you should have passed, you should have whatever. Like, I never do that because I remember how it made me feel. And maybe I'm being too soft, but I don't think so. Like, for me, it feels right in that because I remember how it made me feel as a kid.
Yeah.
I know. I feel the same way because I did gymnastics growing up, and I remember a lot of critique. But
you didn't just do gymnastics. You did gymnastics. You did high level.
Yes,
you guys listening, like Lisa was like the bomb. So
no, but seriously, like I remember that. I remember it was always, there was never elatedness about, you know, what I did, right? Whereas I think about now and how we give to our kids and like, you did great and it was amazing, and what do you need to work on? It's not but I always felt like there was like more critique, although I say that because that's what I felt, and I sometimes wonder like what my parents maybe thought they were like. I feel like they thought that maybe they were giving me
like a communication thing.
Right. And I feel like there's an in between, right? And I feel like I try to do that with my son, you know, here's some things to work on, but I always make a point of making sure that, you know, you give him the positives, right? The compliment sandwich.
Do you ever think about like, do you think he will ever take what you said despite all of the thoughts? And I mean, Leia, this goes for you too. Like, you guys, do you think the kids will ever look at us and be like, oh my gosh, my parents were so hard on me?
Yes.
Like we did.
I do.
Oh my
I mean,
goodness,
think of it as music, right? Like the music. Like I think about like the music my dad liked. I hated, didn't like it. I listened to my own stuff. My dad hated it. My kids are now listening to stuff that I'm like, there's like one or two songs out of the 700 they listen to that I like. I'm like, I want to play them. You know what I mean? Like there's that contextual sort of differential that exists.
Yes. Oh, yes. No,
Did you just spill your Prosecco? What happened? I'm not sure. Oh, hot flash.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we got that.
We always have to. I feel like that's like a commercial break for us. We're going to pass on
TV timeout. Hot flash, TV timeout.
Hot flash.
For those of you not on bioidentical estrogen.
And we come back now after a short break of
We should have
Hot Flash Central.
I mean, you are wearing a hat. You look adorable, but you're wearing a hat inside. It is Buffalo.
Listen, it's Buffalo.
It's Buffalo.
In January.
Go Bills. Go Bills. For the record, go Bills.
But yeah,
love you, by the way.
Yes, so cute. But I think Yeah, no, for sure. I think that my kids for sure, definitely feel like at times, well, that's not
Like,
how my friend's parents, they wouldn't say this, which I love that comment. It's like, you spoke to them? you know this. Is that right? Do you question that? I've never asked them. You really spoke to Miss, you really spoke to Miss Lisa and Miss Meg, and this is what they told you they were going to say. No, that's not true. No. So I'm
You're
start calling.
FOS.
They always think
FOS.
that it's better.
Yeah, always.
I had the conversation the other day
better.
about, because my son's, he's rather clean and neat, and we're just clean and neat people. And you put you take stuff off, you put it in the hamper.
It's not like Leah and I were just slovenly, disorganized.
No, but he was literally talking about how, well, so and so's room's really messy.
Kieran's room is a pigsty.
Okay, well, you know what? Then have at it. Right. Take a couple days and be messy. I don't care. A couple hours from there, all of a sudden, all of his clothes were picked up off the floor. He's like, well, I just couldn't help it. I was like, it's not always better on the other side. They just
grass is not always greener.
They just think, because that's not how I am, and they see another kid being messy or saying or speaking a certain way, and they just think, well, I want to do that.
Right. Yeah.
But then when they do that, then it's like, well, okay, well, maybe that's not me.
Mm-hmm. And that's where it comes in of how much do we let our culture how much do we force it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. How much do we force it, and how much do we let it kind of ride and flow for them of, okay, you're not going to adopt my way. Yeah, have a try at it. Mm-hmm. Have a try at something different, because that's certainly what in some places what we do, right? Mm-hmm. Here we are talking about, letting our kids into the conversation more and things like that. So we're kind of giving that a try. But our kids are somewhat doing the same thing, right? Are asking, I want to do things differently and of course there's going to be objective, right and wrong. This is, my authority says this is the way it should be. But, I do think it is of our generation to give those wings more opportunity to fly. Mm-hmm.
So here's a question. And I've been thinking a lot about this, and I'll give you guys a little bit of context. So this is all very relevant to our children and what we're showing them. And I 1,000% agree. And I am in the same boat. What about us, though? Mm-hmm. It's like breaking that cord between your expectations. Like we started off talking about, right? Like the expectations that were put on us as kids, or the guidebook, should I say, that was written for us. Do we decide to follow it? Do we decide to break with tradition?
You got a guidebook?
No, I didn't, and that's probably the problem, dude. But I say that, and I'll give an example. My family grew up very insular, and my dad had been in the Navy. He was all over the Mediterranean. He traveled and saw the world and did whatever. My mom was in New York City. She was a model. She was this. She was that. She was amazing. They settled in a small town in Vermont, and they were like, yeah, we're cool. Like, this is it. This is all we want to do. I did not travel. I was not on a plane before I was 18 years old as a part of a trip for basketball in college, right? So I had a very, very sort of limited upbringing. We did not travel at all, even by car, very much, right? It was maybe once a year to see family that was all located in Massachusetts. We had, and I say we, myself, my two brothers, we had cousins that were located in Massachusetts, many of them, but two in particular that we were the closest with, my dad's brother's children. And when we would see them, it was like, we got along so well. We had so much fun. Like, I could tell you so many stories about how, my cousin who's closest in age to me, his name is Matt, we would just pin shit on our younger brothers and just get away with it. We had so much fun. Mm-hmm. It was literally like we were brothers and sister and not cousins, right? We just immediately bonded, whatever. We had a ton of fun. And then family, and we would split back up. So literally once a year at the most for a day or two. Fast forward, I'm in Milan this summer for work, And in the airport, of all places, I see one of my cousins, Ryan. And it was just this unbelievable event where everything had to go right. You know, like the 10 things have to line up just so, and blah, blah, blah. One of my friends had sent me a text message because, of course, I'm tall. And she was like, girl, I can see you from the back of the line. You're the tallest one in the front of the line, blah, blah, blah. So I like leaned back and I was like, Jimena, I see you, you know. And he and his wife had been standing like very close to my friend Jimena. And they were in the TSA line, or whatever you call it in Italy, the security checkpoint. And he was like, that looks like Meg. That looks like my cousin. We haven't seen each other in 15 years since his wedding, right? And even before that, it was like 5 years. And so he's like, that looks like Meg. And she's like, dude, you're crazy. Like, what are the odds in Milan, of all places, that you would run into your cousin? He's like, that looks like her. And then when Jimena texted me and I like made this like, somebody's here. When I leaned back and made like this smart aleck remark to her, he heard my voice and he's like, oh my God, that is my cousin. So in all places in Milan, Italy, we're like reunion.
Yeah.
But what that did to me was, I mean, you think about, you know, intervention out of a higher power in a way, right? It's like somebody was sending us a message. We need to do things differently. So long story longer, I've seen my cousin Matt. I know, I'm sorry. I've seen my cousin Matt a few times. We actually drove out to see them for their Christmas party and whatever. We've rekindled this cousin relationship. And when I say cousin, I actually mean like they are my brothers. Like these two men, they're grown-ass men, like incredibly good at their jobs. They handle incredibly stressful lives, kids, the whole 9 yards. We have made a pact that we are going to break our family tradition of not hanging out, not seeing each other at all. We're like, guys, it's time. Like, we all really love each other and like we all want to hang out. We have a lot we can learn. We want to get our kids together. Like, we all have kids the same age. Like, what the hell are we doing? Geography now is not an excuse, right? They're in Rhode Island. They're in New Hampshire. That's not a freaking far plane ride from Buffalo. I'm sorry, but it's not. So we went out there. We saw the Pats lose awesomely to the Bills, by the way. But we saw that game. It was fantastic. It was a family thing we did, and we've started a new tradition. We've broken from that tradition. Whole point of this whole montage.
Monologue.
No. My hope is that people have a visual, and it's a visual montage. I'm just kidding. But the monologue is, what if we break from that tradition? Like, what decisions do we make in our lives? Not just how we treat our kids, but like how we actually behave as adults.
Well, I think though that, I think that there is the growing up piece of it, right? And then there is the break from that, from all the traditions that you had when you were little, right? Because then once you get to your 20s and 30s, you start to kind of have your own families, right? And or if you're separate in the sense of like geography, where you can't kind of continue those traditions, you start to build new traditions and you kind of break from those old traditions, but yet you try to bring in some of those things that you had before. And then I feel when you get to later, halfway through, as we always talk about, you start to reconnect back. You start to remember a lot of those old traditions that have such memories to them and fond memories to them that you want to get back to that. And it feels like that's kind of what you did, Meg, right?
It's made me so happy.
You had it when you were little, and then you kind of had your space where you were kind of doing your own thing, right? I mean, let's face it, when we have kids, like shit hits the fan and everything becomes like crazy.
It's got to wait.
But then once you get to that midlife, you start to remember, or something happens like that, and you reconnect back, and then you're like, wait a minute. I want to get back to whatever that tradition may have been.
Totally.
Agreed.
Absolutely. And that's what's made like all the difference. And now I just heard the texting, which made me think of it.
Who's texting?
It wasn't me. It wasn't
Aren't we supposed to silence our phones?
It's not me.
Is that me?
It's not me.
It's not me. It's not me. It is Lisa. Lisa. Probation for you, girl. Jeez. No, but it's made me feel like way more connected to my actual family. Like, I love my father with all my heart. I love my brothers. I love my cousins. And having the ability to now be like, you know what, I'm connected with Matt, and I will literally text him. I'm like, I love you, bro. Mm-hmm. You know, he has a very stressful job. He's in law enforcement. That man puts his life on the line every day to protect people, and I worry about him now. And yes, it was funny because one of my friends was like, dude, don't you have like one more thing to worry about? I'm like, yeah, but I love the kid. And I say kid, he's like a 44-year-old man, right? Or he's probably 46. But at the end of the day, like, I feel so much more connected to my roots and to who I am as a human being, having him in my life. And he's got a beautiful fiance. They're getting married this year. He's got 2 great kids. They both play hockey. Like, I love having that. Like, those are roots. And the older I get, it's almost like the more important that becomes to me to be able to give my kids the roots. Yeah. So you started out, Leah, talking about like your first generation. Like, how do you establish those roots and those traditions? Yeah. Like breaking from, or maybe it's not breaking from. Maybe it's just taking the best of.
Absolutely. No, and sure. To be honest, I absolutely love my West Indian roots and my West Indian culture, to the point that I would even veer off to talk about somewhat my fears of how diluted it does become with us being here, and how much I kind of claw and try to hold on to certain things for my kids. When I at the same time have loved being here in North America, born and raised in Canada, my kids being American, you know, it's all the wonderful things, but I love that for my kids, that they have that connection. Yeah. And I know for myself and my brother and my sister, just like you talk about, Meg, for us, we really make an attempt to reconnect back to our cultural upbringing, to our cousins, to my parents, their grandparents. Even my younger one, he had a school project where it was an oral history project for his social studies, and he got to talk to his great-grandmother, who went into teaching school at the age of 13 in Trinidad, while she got an English scholarship. And so, you know, just being able to hear those stories, I mean, there's so much richness and beauty in those stories and where we've come from, and its legacy, right? So I think that there's so much for them to learn from. I think of the fact that for not long ago, my mom used to live with us, and just the experience my kids had from that, from having, you know, a Trinidadian grandmother, incredibly positive, right?
We'll keep you out of trouble with it.
But no, of course there were clashes in that, and it goes back to talking about, you know, having more dialogue versus, I'll say, my mom being more of you say and I do.
It's
you know?
two different parenting styles.
It's just two different parenting styles.
The same roof.
Yes.
If you think about it like that, it doesn't mean that that hers was wrong or yours is wrong. It's just it's evolved, right? Parenting styling has evolved over the years, so it's kind of taking those two underneath one roof and like making it work.
Oh, and listen, I love that they got to experience that.
That's awesome.
I love that they got to see that.
Be coddled by grandma.
Oh, well, listen, my parents always say, my grandkids don't cry with me, you know. Yes. They don't listen. And what that means is that I will spoil them as much as I want because I completed my parenting duties. Exactly. My parenting duties are done. Grandparents, I get to.
And your mom's awesome. Like, she's like, you can just see, like,
I mean, we are eating the hot sauce on everything.
Oh my God.
Say her magical hot sauce.
She has a stash that she meant to send for Christmas.
The other day, I think last week, or when we got home from our vacay, there was something he took out of the fridge. And then he grabbed the can, and he was like, "I wonder what it would taste like with this on it."
It enhances everything.
Go for it.
Does. There's nothing like a good Trinidadian.
Thank Grandma Leia.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. So no, I think that you know, I love the way that you said that it evolves, right? It's not about necessarily changing, but evolving. Yeah.
So how do we stay in touch with our kids? Like when the script
hold them
flips and chain them up and keep them in their bedrooms forever.
Yeah.
No, but I'm thinking about like, okay, so this is how we feel with our parents. And our parents felt like that with their parents.
Oh, I'm sure.
So how do we, I don't know, disrupt the cycle? How do we change it? Right? Like I think about
You don't like being called bro?
Bro.
You know?
Bro. No, it's not even bro. It's bruh. Bruh. Mom, bruh. Come on, mom, bruh. And so that brings up a whole 6, 7, 6, 7. That brings up a whole nother host of issues. But like moments we feel out of touch now with our kids, right? And it's funny because I was doing some homework before the episode, and I was thinking about the ways I like to mess with my children. One of them being, in the car when we're on the way somewhere, I will literally try to plant some middle schoolese in the middle of a conversation. And the other night, and this is a true story, I was like, we're riding in the car, whatever, and I'm like, guys, like, I low-key could go for some Picasso's pizza. Like, it's fire. Like, last time we had the wings, they were busting, like, no cap. They left no crumbs. You guys want some? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, bet.
Well done.
So let me translate. Thank you. I worked so hard on this. It was, they're all on their phones. I'm like plotting in my head. I'm like, I'm going to say this. And I'm not going to say that. I'm going to remember all this. But I low-key means like I sort of want some, but I don't want to be like overt about it. Some pizza. Their particular pizza, Picasso's, is great. It's fire. It means it's delicious, right? And last time we had it, the wings were bussin'. They were outstanding. No cap means no BS. Like, basically, true story. They left no crumbs means, like, it was really, really good. Like, nothing could have been done better.
Yes.
And then
6, 7.
they were like, you guys want some? And I was like, bet. And bet means, like, yeah, for sure.
I know.
So
my younger one tells me that I'm totally cringe when I try to
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Which means you're embarrassing.
Please stop.
Like, stop.
That's it.
Like, you are not fire. You don't have Riz.
Yeah, right.
No charisma for you. You are not 6'7". You are 8'9".
And listen, and that's an interesting perspective because it goes into the discussion of, are we supposed to kind of stay in our place?
Yeah.
Like isn't it supposed to just be ours? Like
we're supposed to not know.
We're supposed to not know.
Yeah.
We're the Stranger Things generation. Like my kids don't know what a lunchbox is.
Oh, my
Dude,
goodness.
I would live it up like it was 1985 any day of the week. Like twice on Sunday.
But like you were totally right. And I feel like I try to relate generationally. And I'm not gonna lie, I mess with, you guys know me, I mess with them mercilessly by coming up with stupid stuff like that to say to them, because you know what, at the end of the day, it is my effort to try to relate to them and stay connected. And that's the whole point of all of this, right? Like, if I can't speak their language, like, what the actual F is 6'7"?
It's nothing. My kids keep telling me it's nothing.
I try to like insert it and like I'll use it. And then I go, did I use it right? And she's like, no.
No. Cringe.
Like it's never
cringe.
no.
I'm always cringe.
It's always,
I am always cringe.
I try to use it.
Yeah. So,
it doesn't work.
And apparently there's 41.
Yeah.
There's something else now. I can't keep up. I can't keep up.
Wait, there's some, okay.
It just keeps adding. But that's the thing. I think, when I said that, are we supposed to just leave that alone and let them have theirs? It just reminded me for some reason that I remember my mom commenting to say, I have no interest, and this is going to sound really bad, but I distinctly remember her saying, I don't have interest in being your friend, I'm your mom. Mm-hmm. And I respect that comment in the way of this is my role. This is where I want to sit and this is where I want to be. And the relation that I will have with you and the connection that I have with you, I want it to be as your mother. And is that the same way of saying that, our generations, they may clash, but there is a way that we can connect, and it's not about me trying to come into your generation and understand it and be a part of it. And right, and if we want to, another example, I for some reason it also came into my mind. I'm kind of going all over the place here, but like I think of Canada and our cultural.
Rosé-o.
I know Rosé-o is
Rosé-o.
flowing, but it's a mosaic rather than a melting pot, right?
Nice.
And as a Canadian, my Canadians out there know what I'm talking about, right? That's how we always describe Canada, right? It's a mosaic of generations that we don't need to meld into each other. It's about connecting one to another while staying in your place, And I think there's such beauty in that rather than trying to change into something else. Mm-hmm. It's about connection. And we can all learn and grow so much from each other. And I think that that's kind of the beauty in the generational conflicts, that, you can sometimes be a mirror that wants to then say, I don't want to go that way, or to say, wow, I want to take that piece from it and put it into my own. So, yeah, I feel like we don't have to worry too much if we're not getting it. If, the Instagram is too hard and the TikToks ain't flowing the way we hope for them to.
We can't figure it out.
Oh man,
and
I do not know how to repost, y'all. I do not know. I don't know. I don't know. It's. But I think that I think just that is that we don't. It doesn't have to be that we come in to each other's generation. There's still a way to connect.
What about relationships? When we talk about passion and love, right? In this world now than when it was when our parents were growing up.
Oh, geez.
Like, if you think about the relationships you're in now with your partners and whatnot, like, and I think about how our parents were. Or our grandparents, right? Because we saw how that it is just so different, and I feel like there's so much more communication now, and so much more passion, I guess you can say, in what most relationships experience versus how it used to be. I don't know how you guys have experienced that with like your parents, but I know that I think, well, Leah, I think you and I come from like, divorced parents. But that when I hear my mother talk about relationships, it's just so different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My parents were not divorced, but they could have been easily.
Well, it's just, and it was a different relationship.
Exactly. Yeah. You stick with,
agreement.
Stay with, do the, and everybody plays their role. You do your own thing. I think about my relationship now, right? Like, I talk to Jay openly about what I need and when I need it. Like, even this morning in the car, we're on the way to Rochester to watch a hockey game, and I'm working on my computer, and he's playing music, and I caught myself because I was like, I'm trying to concentrate. And the way I said it, I was a total complete bitch. And I was like, I just said that in a really bad way. And he didn't say a word. He just turned the volume down. And I was like, babe, I'm super sorry. Like, I'm just stressed. I was just trying to think. I had to send an email that like required actual brain power on a Saturday morning. And like, and I just, thank you. And he was like, Megs, I get it. Yeah. And he was like, I understand. And we've had conversations about like mental load, for example, right? As a parent, as a adult in society, like what you carry with you. Like, my daughter plays varsity hockey, right? Like, we've talked about this before. She's at the rink at 5 a.m. on a given morning. And then I pick her up at 6:30 and she requires a Starbucks, or she is just nasty. And it's also a way that I connect with her, right? I show her I love her because I'm like at Starbucks in the line before I pick her up, whatever. And I get her little thing because it's a hard thing for a kid who's 14 to get up and be at a hockey rink at 5 a.m. And she has 10 whole minutes to shower before I have to like take her to school, and she misses the bus, so I have to drive her, and then I get home, take Kieran and like drive him to school. Like, it's a whole thing, right? In the mornings. And they need lunches, and we need water bottles, and we need all this stuff in the hockey year, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, babe, I get it. He's like, by 8 a.m. some days, you've lived like a full life. He's like, and then you start your day. He's like, then you shower, then you get to work, then you do, anything for yourself whatsoever. He's like, and I understand it. He was actually the one who brought up the concept of mental load, which I think is a huge thing, and it plays into like our choices and how we are growing in our relationships, right? Like how our parents were. Could you guys see your mother or your father talk about like, hey, I need this. My mental load is this today. I need you to be 200% because I'm going to be 5%.
I don't think there was ever that communication.
Yeah, exactly.
you know, maybe my father asking my mother, what do you need?
Right.
Are you okay?
Right.
Like, just the relationships back then were just so different. And, and I, for lack of a better word, it feels as if a lot of those relationships were, I don't know, a little bit more transactional than they were about, you know, partnership.
Right. Almost like forced. Like, you're married, so this is what you're supposed to do.
Yes, the traditional roles of like, well, this is right. My mother was a housewife for, you know, the first probably 10 years, you know, of my life. So it was, this is what I'm supposed to do.
Exactly. I think that's the nail on the head, is that the roles were so defined. Yes. You know, and there wasn't really any shifting from that. And so with such defined roles, there's therefore defined expectations. And so you should have no needs. In fact, you should just, you know what you are required to do, what's expected of you, you know the resources that you have to do them with, and get it done. And so there was no shifting from that. It was very, you know, strict. So I think that really went into what we saw in the relationships of our elders, really.
Yeah. How do you change that? Like, how do you change that in what you model for your kids? Like, I think I'm not purposeful about this yet, but like what my kids are seeing, Marin sees a man who will vacuum or do the dishes. I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, yeah, this is the life, baby. But at the end of the day, like, that's not how it is every day. Like, we are equal in the tasks, right? And like,
but that's
I want to model that.
But that is what the world is today, right? Like, that was not what it was like 50 years ago, right? So you wouldn't probably have seen my grandfather vacuum.
But that's not how I grew up.
It's just part of what the culture is today, or what the society is today, and the expectation of it. It's not, you know, something to, how do we teach them? I think it's just part of kind of how we all parent now.
But although I think that goes into what we were talking about at the beginning of this, is that how that then affects how you look at yourself and the expectations that come upon you. I can tell you, I mean, listen, I'm a physician that works every day of the week for multiple times in clinic, not to mention the multiple hours that go on outside of clinic doing analyses of labs and images and charts and patient calls and everything like that. And never out of the back of my mind is my mother, who also worked and came home and cooked and cleaned and was very much that maternal role and that generational role. And so when I think of having it all, it includes being in that role. I will tell you, my husband is absolutely someone who is an incredible cook and feels
I've had his
that
ribs, they're outstanding.
And feels that no, that's not the way it has to work, because we are partners, and as much so the pressure is not from him. It's from myself. It's from myself and what I've seen and what I grew up with. And it is very challenging to let go of that. And you know, that's often, I honestly think that that's the last step of making any generational shift, is not the expectations from the outside, but it's internal. Those internal expectations that have to shift.
And the thing is that, I'm sorry, I moved away from the microphone, but like, it doesn't change. A generation is not going to change from one generation to the next. It's an evolution. It's going to take, because this is how you grew up, right? And so as you're growing up, you're taking bits and pieces of what you grew up with. And so it's going to take a number of generations for you to evolve. To
like any form of evolution, right?
Yeah. Well, exactly, right?
I
don't know.
Interesting.
It's heavy. Like we said at the outset.
It's so heavy. It's so amazing.
But I think it's but you guys, like, it's real. And the fact that we can talk about this in terms of what we want to do with our kids is monumental progress, because I think a lot of times, like, I feel pretty confident in saying my parents were never like, how are my kids going to feel? Are my kids going to
Oh, they did not care how we felt.
They didn't give a shit. My dad was
Let's
like,
be real.
shut up, sit down, eat your sandwich, be quiet.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Let me tell you how you feel. You're happy.
Or how you will feel if you don't shut up, right?
Yes.
And I've never
I'll give you something to feel.
Oh.
I remember yes, I was crying. I'll give you something to cry about.
Yes,
like, hey, you want something to cry
Oh,
about?
let me get the stick. We heard that a lot growing up.
It was funny. We all joke. I think Jay actually has a T-shirt that says "Wooden Spoon Survivor,"
Yes.
which I love. It's truth. It's just generational stuff, and I
Our stick was a back scratcher. You remember those wooden back scratchers?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Sounded like a hand.
It was a stick. Yes.
A little hand.
I think
I'm gonna
that's
get
funny.
this stick. Nobody ever really got it, but we definitely
threat
feared
was
the
enough.
stick.
Oh, listen, all sorts of threats. Listen, my mother could hurt you with a stare. Those grocery
Yes.
store stares.
Laser.
When you knew you're gonna get some
like
when you get
laser.
home. Lasers.
Laser.
It was impressive.
But we felt them. We felt them, and we were like, "Oh no, I'm in big trouble." Like,
all it took.
am I gonna go home? Are they actually gonna let me ride home in the car with them? Yeah, those are the things, though, you guys. But I think it's that's where our love and our memories of our family, like, it keeps us all together, right? And it helps us to stay tight with who we are and how we grew up in the past.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that those traditions are always embedded within us, and they kind of hold us together. They keep us
Make
tight.
us
But
who we
it's I think, and dare I say, wisdom holds us to a higher standard in a way. It's Lise, you said it, it's the evolution, right?
Yeah.
It's not wisdom in the sense of like, oh, we're smarter than they were. It's like, no, we just have different perspective because our lives are different.
But
we have
society
technology, we
around
have
you-
society. Yeah.
Molds you, I guess you could say.
Exactly.
So if you think about the society that was around them and now the society around us, that's what kind of. Yeah.
But I think ultimately at the end of the day, like what you said is spot on. It molds us, but we're always like this open-hearted sort of always intending on being better and being there more for our children. And it's always that connection over the conflict. And I think no matter how much we see connection, there may still always be conflict, like cringe, right, Mom? But at the end of the day, like, we are seeking to build the bridges. I think our parents were like, oh, this is just what happens. I'm like, no. Like, Grady is grown-ass man, moved away. Like, no, I want to stay connected to him. I'm not going to be okay with hearing from him every third Tuesday of the second month of whatever, right? Like, it's not how it works.
Right.
Like, I'm gonna be up in his shit all the time. That kid is gonna know who his mother is every day of the week and twice on Sunday. And I think, those bridges are bridges we build, right? But we have to think about how we are going to keep those bridges connected constantly, and how we are going to maintain our relationships with our kids, even through time, through distance. But I think, these are the things we can do. And this conversation, the fact that we're having this conversation right now, the three of us, and hopefully the folks who are listening to us, if you've got ideas, guys, we're all ears, man. Like, tell us in the comments on Instagram, tell us on Spotify, tell us on Apple, tell us wherever you are. Like, we would love to hear your thoughts and how you are keeping those connections with your kids as well.
Yes, definitely.
But at this point, I think it's fair to say that until next time,
Yes.
this is Meg.
And Lisa.
And Leia.
And remember, we are half red.
Books optional.
Cocktails required.
See you soon.